Hi, this is Charles Hoskinson live from warm, sunny Colorado. Today's a special edition of my normal musings and ruminations and live casts that I do just for Max Keiser. We didn't have a chance to be on the show. Been there a few times. Always been fun to see you and Stacy. Last time we ran into each other, I think, was before all this craziness with coronavirus in Mexico at the Satoshi Roundtable. Anyway, I see you guys are stoking the whole PPP thing. And I made a video. You took a nice little snippet of the video where we talked about MLB, and that's great. It's ratings gold. It's a good idea to go down this road. I don't get to pick the policy. I don't get to set the rules. You don't. I don't. And that's truth. And the reality is that whatever the tax code happens to be, whatever the institutions happen to be, that's the law of the land. And I don't get to pick those rules, but I have to play with them, and my competitors have to play with them. And IO Global is a cryptocurrency company, but we're also a B2B services company, Max. And so we sell to people. And you know as well as I do that when a depression happens, we have a lot of trouble selling because all the things that we sell are not urgencies. It's not like we're selling food or we're selling things that people have to consume or they die. They can make a choice to slow down what they upgrade, what they do, and so forth. So because the whole world got shut down, everybody's going to be hit. If not today, in 6 months from now, if not 6 months from now, 9 months from now. The point of fortifying companies is to give them an economic moat so that they can keep their people on payroll and continue investing. Or otherwise, what we're going to do, companies have to do, is lay people off. Now, I'm not going to do that. I don't want to do that, and we've never done it in our company's history. Other companies like Consensus have. But at the end of the day, the point is that the stronger we are, the more people we can employ, the more research we can do, the more investments we make, and that preserves and protects American jobs, which is the entire point of the PPP. Where it's being abused and misused is where the PPP allows American money to go abroad. That's wrong. Or allows American money to go to Wall Street. That's wrong. Or American money to go to executive compensation or whatever. And they still lay people off. It's craziness. It's morally wrong. That shouldn't happen. And go pick on those people. But you're honestly going to go to an American business in Wyoming that gives money to the University of Wyoming, hires people in America, does work here, and pick on us because we got a few $100,000 in PPP. That's the hill to die on here. I don't like the policy I pay for. What? I'm not allowed to take government grants now? If the government has a research grant, they want us to do a little something with it. That's immoral and unjustified. If they change the tax code and we can find a way to save an extra 5% business tax, it's immoral and unjustified for me to take that. I mean, where does the standard sit? Where does that go? Bad policy is bad policy. And you know what? My competitors get to take advantage of that policy, as does everybody else. So either I choose not to take advantage of bad policy, or I take advantage of it and have a level playing field. Otherwise, we run out of money. We're not as competitive. They win. And then what have I done for my ecosystem? What have I done for my employees? What have I done for any of these people? I don't make the rules. You don't make the rules. None of us do. We can complain about them, and we're trying to change them. We're trying to change them through the ballot box. In my case, I campaigned for Ron Paul. PPP would have never existed under a president like that. We try to change it by getting people like Rand Paul into the Senate. Again, he opposes these types of things where and when they make sense. And we, of course, try to change it through all various different kinds of means, the hearts and minds of people. But at the end of the day, when you're a CEO in a competitive environment, it's my job to play the game. And these are the rules as they are. I don't pick the tax rates. I don't pick who gets grants. I don't pick what particular federal programs exist. And we will maximize in that environment so that we can operate. And our operations mean we create American jobs. And our operations mean we invest in American institutions. Is this truly the hill that you want to die on? I mean, is this truly the fight you want to pick? Go complain to me in Consensus and the rest of the gang about PPP. There's plenty of things you can criticize us over, but this one seems a little crazy. And then the other thing is, I have a question to you. Is it okay if we receive money from the National Science Foundation? If I apply for a grant from, let's say, the Department of Homeland Security, would that be okay? if all the work ends up in the open domain? Like, is it okay if we find that we can reduce our tax burden by a point or two with a special program? Are we allowed to take that program? I mean, where are you going to cut that line? This is a legitimate program. The government decided we met the criteria. We knew our competitors were taking it, and they basically get millions of dollars of my tax dollars to compete with me. My own government is paying my competitors money. You fail to concede that, and you somehow point to Peter Schiff being the paragon of morality, and then conflate Bitcoin as if Bitcoin is somehow better. Let's be clear here. Cardano didn't get any money from the US government. A US-based company that hires Americans, that does business in the United States and does B2B services in the United States that have been shut down as a consequence of the government shutting itself down, got some money for the PPP, as did many other people in our industry and hundreds of thousands of American businesses. Cardano, as a blockchain project, is a global system and has received zero subsidy from anybody. It's an open source project, patent free, just like Bitcoin is, and it competes in that open domain against Bitcoin. It's a careful differentiation between these two things. And if I do things to make my company stronger, more solvent, where am I spending that money, Max? Come on, where am I spending it? I'm spending it on research. I'm spending it on open source code, over 1 million lines of it sitting in probably 200 repos at this point. We're spending it writing papers, open papers that are patent free, that anyone in this space can use. And some of our papers benefit Bitcoin, like our NEPA-PALS research, for example. So isn't it a good thing? The more money I have, the more money my company has, the more people my company has, the more things we do that synergistically will make your investment in Bitcoin better. So in a way, if you want to look at it in this particular sense, PPP subsidized Bitcoin's development as much as it did Cardano's development by empowering and enabling our company to continue maintaining full employment, as it did with my competitors, with my tax dollars, ConsenSys, and the rest of the gang. And I'd love to ask you, are grants okay? Is a reduction in taxes okay? Are tax optimization strategies that are legal okay? I mean, where do we cut this line, honestly? And yeah, it's bad policy. But again, you don't pick that policy. I don't pick that policy. And the whole reason I opposed this policy was, A, because it's not smart policy. Printing $6 trillion out of thin air accelerates the decline of the American dollar and damages my nation. And second, the whole reason I oppose this policy is it creates moral hazards. It creates perverse incentives for companies to do things that they don't really want to do because their competitors are doing these things. And in order to maintain an even playing field, they now have to take advantage of the new rule. Okay, so bad policy creates bad outcomes. It is what it is. It was bipartisan. We had no ability to stop it, got railroaded through. The whole shutdown is bad policy, got railroaded through, and it's being propagated by the lapdog media. It's a whole separate conversation, but we're now all living these consequences. And, millions of Americans are suffering really poorly, badly as well. There are millions and millions of people that are being pushed into unemployment, millions and millions of people who were living the American dream who've now been pushed into poverty as a consequence of everything falling apart. So, yeah, we need to fix that. And it's going to take a lot of work to fix it. And good old-fashioned free market, good old-fashioned good principles will. And every time these interventions are done, they only make the people that make people poorer stronger, whether we see the consolidation of the farms, whether we see the consolidation of the banks, whether we see the consolidation of all the Fortune 500 and how much richer Jeff Bezos has gotten, whereas all the small businesses don't do so well. This is the consequence of bad policy. But if I stay alive, I can build great products that can liberate people from that reality. And by the way, Cardano has done something Bitcoin hasn't done in a while. We created over 1,000 small businesses with our stake pool operators. Bitcoin doesn't do that anymore. The people who run Bitcoin are billionaires and millionaires who run massive stake pool operations, private pools with subsidized power and ASICs. The longer Cardano's around, the more small businesses we're going to put in business, and the more diversity we have in that market. Bitcoin doesn't innovate like that. So when you get into the nuances of these things, net, us being around is pretty good for the space. Us being around is pretty good for everything. But, I'm happy to have the debate. If you want me on the show, we'll talk about it till we both get blue in the face. And I'm sure a lot of people will be pretty happy to see that conversation. In any event, I love you and Stacy. I've always been a fan of your show. It's always been fun watching your show. You guys are great. You're the OGs, and it's been great throughout all the years. And I look forward to seeing you somewhere over the net or somewhere at an event. Cheers.